There are all kinds of crises and stresses in the life of every human being. There is not a single person on earth who would have lived a great life without the slightest trials and tribulations. But there are such periods in the life of all of us, when the real crisis year comes. It is a year when similar crises occur almost simultaneously for many people. The year 2024 is such a year. But before you continue watching, subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss interesting and informative releases. And click on the bell to receive notifications of new videos, allowing you to be the first to know about fresh material. Your comments and feedback are important to us. They help us improve our content and make it more interesting and relevant. This year especially, many people are faced with situations and circumstances that they didn't expect, weren't prepared for, or that hurt and create a sense of hopeless impasse. And it may look terrible, tragic, or unbearable, but it's actually what can heal us. When things are bad, the moment when we find ourselves in a situation that is painful for us is truly sacred. We are very sensitive and vulnerable during this period. But at the same time, it means that we definitely already have the resources to deal with it. Especially if we are talking about a recurring scenario or a relationship that we have wanted to end or change for a very long time, and now the moment has finally come when it is impossible not to change it. What are the stages a person goes through when he or she finds himself or herself in a serious dead end in life? I will describe them below so that you can diagnose on your own at what stage you or your relatives are at this or that moment of external or internal crisis. Stages of living crises and life deadlocks. Stage 1. Non-acceptance and emotional collapse. Stage 1. At this stage there is a strong emotional immersion in the problem or crisis. There is a feeling that the earth is going out from under your feet or that the planet has fallen out of its usual orbit. There is a feeling that your familiar supports are crumbling, but you don't know what to do about it all yet. You don't have any ideas or strategies for dealing with it yet, and you don't even agree to let it all basically happen in your life right now. You don't want it. You refuse to deal with it. You hope that you will sit back and everything will work itself out. In fact, this is running away from yourself and avoiding making the necessary decisions. But anyway, this avoidance is justified by the fact that while the person has a feeling that resources, strength, and understanding of how to cope with it, he does not have. Stage 2. The next state after a person has faced a crisis will be deterioration at the physical level. The body will start screaming, SOS, I feel bad. It will start feeling universal fatigue, lack of strength, lack of resources, desire to shout to the whole world, leave me alone, I want to rest. A person may fall ill with an acute respiratory infection or other virus that will make him go to bed, so that there really is an opportunity to escape from the whole world. And the one who has a strong immunity, if he or she does not get sick, will then feel a great irritation at everyone and everything, and a strong energetic fatigue. Stage 3. Chaotic actions and throwing. If it is really about a deadlock and a real crisis, which are meant to bring a person to a new level, then the situation around him will continue to deteriorate. The person will try to solve the problem in the ways known to him, but will find that they all stopped working at the same time. A deadlock is a deadlock because none of the external ways will work. Transformation is possible only from within. But at this stage a person does not realize it yet, and therefore she rushes around in absolutely illogical actions. Even opposite in their consequences. He will make many efforts, but none of them will work. And the person himself will be more and more tired of it all. Stage 4. Depression and apathy. I can't do this anymore, I don't know what to do. These words can characterize this stage, where a feeling of complete powerlessness is created. Whatever a person did at the previous stage, nothing helped, for a while dulled the pain and fatigue, but no more. And this stage of powerlessness and despondency means the transition to the second stage of the crisis. Stage 2. Who is to blame and what to do? Stage 1. Having reached this stage, a person recognizes the problem and already understands that something needs to be done about it. Recognizing the problem opens the way for him to solve it, because what we are not ready to recognize is impossible to solve. Here at this stage a person begins to look at the situation more soberly and think about what to do and whose help to seek in order to cope. At this stage people often find and acquire a mentor, a teacher, or a professional in the helping profession, who becomes a guide for them to get out of their circumstances. Stage 2. Finding fault. This stage is one of the most dangerous because life can turn a person to a new circle of similar trials again, if he does not pass this stage. Because this is the period when a person begins to look for the guilty in the problem. He cannot bear the burden of the responsibility that has arisen in connection with the crisis, and he wants very much to throw this responsibility on someone. Blame can always be found, and it may look completely logical and correct. A person comes to the conclusion that it is not because of his own reason that he got into all this, but because of the actions or inactions of someone else. But that's the victim position. And it is impossible to solve anything in the position of a victim. One can only, falling deeper into the victim, stop the process of coming out of the crisis and not receive the gifts that would have come if a person had passed this crisis. And then there will be nothing left for life but to loop everything that is happening and send a person to a new round of the repeating scenario. In other words, in this case a person has not passed his experience and has remained, for a second year, after which he will have to face this exam in a more complicated form anyway. Getting stuck in the experience of the wheel of samsara for many lives is about not passing this stage. Stage 3. Unbelief in a happy future. Life is a person makes a decision and begins to ask questions to the higher powers and God, such as, why do I need this? Not realizing that the question should be formulated differently, why do I need this? The one who has decided that, the life of samprays into his life that which confirms exactly this decision of his. Stage 4. A weak attempt to make a deal with life, a search for a compromise, but not yet enough activity and awareness for something to begin to change for real. Stage 3. The turning point before rebirth. At this stage a person finally gains a new perspective on the situation. With the help of a mentor or on his own, he suddenly begins to see everything that has happened to him from a new angle of perception. And at this stage he will have to stop running away from the truth and finally face and accept all the feelings that arise in connection with what has happened. After that, he will finally have a new interest and curiosity in life. He will suddenly begin to notice that there are people in the world, and there are many of them who have already gone through all this, who have already coped with it, who know how to live it all. And then at this stage new, interesting personalities may appear in the environment, or even the circle of socialization may change completely. This will create a sense of hope. Belief that everything is correctable, that even if it will not be the same as before, it will still be somehow new, different. The pain slowly begins to melt away, and there is a place for revival and a new dawn. The colors of spring blossom in the soul. Stage 4. Rebirth. I am new, I am different, I will not be the same as before. But I like to explore my new self, I like my new knowledge, new people in my field, new challenges and opportunities. I was so afraid to go through the pain, and it turns out the fear of pain was much scarier than the pain itself. I did it, I did good. And nobody was to blame for anything, it was just stages of life, when it was time for me to grow and expand. And as soon as all these realizations come, as soon as you come to terms with what happened, one day on some very ordinary day, you suddenly start to hear the quiet voice of your soul. It is such a touching sensation to goosebumps and tears, when inside you suddenly realize the whole picture of the puzzles that have happened to us before. And that's when life gives us its generous gift. Because every blow is followed by a gift, which is much greater than all the passions that we have experienced before receiving it. And how is your 2024 going? Which stage are you in? Put a like and share this video with your friends if it was helpful to you. See you again on our channel, where we will continue to explore the mysteries of spiritual development and growth. Goodbye, and may light and wisdom always accompany you on your path.